Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jeff and Juni Show. I'm Jeff Damron, and this is
Juni Tennant, how's everybody doing?
we're doing great. Thanks for asking. Oh no, you said that, Juni. Yeah. Okay, well, today we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Two letters and a concept that I believe a lot of us were first introduced in 1984 in the movie Terminator, when the dreaded Skynet decided that they were going to take out the human population and sent back Arnold Schwarzenegger, aka the Terminator, to take care of John Connor and stop the resistance, rebellion, whatnot. So 1984 wasn't that long ago. And then you had 2001: A Space Odyssey that was done in the, I don't know, 60s or 70s, whenever that was. And so we've come a long way in a short time, and AI is a hot topic for everybody. It's virtually replacing people's jobs. There's two, three different sides of the fence. AI is good. AI is here to help us. It's help, you know, make things more accurate, relieve humans from doing repetitive work, work that's dangerous, work that is mundane. And then there's the other side that, it's learning so fast that, and it's getting consciousness potentially, and it views the humans as worthless, useless eaters, perhaps. We don't know. Maybe the truth's somewhere in the middle. I don't know. We're going to talk about different things. I'm going to give you my perspective and then tell you a couple interesting stories that happened this week. And so that's where this show is going to go today. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. We're not financial advisors, nor do we play one on TV. Everything we say could be a lie. Ask AI. Anyway, Judy, go ahead and talk. What would you like to say?
No, yeah, AI has really been interesting and how quickly it has grown, right? So up until recently, um, AI, even though it was out there and you heard about it, things like that, it really wasn't a part of your life. But now it seems like AI is a part of your life. Who doesn't use AI? I think everybody does. I know a lot of people use AI for all kinds of reasons. So back in the old days, you would go to the internet and just ask the internet, right? And the internet would find all these resources and articles and whatnot for you. And now, what do a lot of people do? They go to ChatGPT, they go to Kimmy, they go to all these
Grok,
Claude,
Grok.
Grok,
Yeah,
go to all these AIs, and then they just punch in the question or just ask AI. And there are YouTubers out there, and their whole YouTube show is them with their phone being recorded asking their AI all
yeah,
kinds of weird questions, and
I
people
saw that.
people just watch it, right? And all of a sudden AI is here, and then you start hearing about, you know different people. Is AI going to take away our jobs? And I mean, just last week, I think one of the motor companies got rid of 1,000 employees, and they're going to replace them with 50 AI bots. That's crazy, right? So it's starting to affect a lot of people. There's other people saying that both blue collar and white collar jobs are going to go. But like you mentioned, there's a lot of positives. I mean, now at the just asking, you can get any and all the information you need or want, from people using AI, even though AI warns you, but people doing their taxes using AI, which is great, right? Whoever's got AI, I know people that use AI to do their taxes. Now they're not spending that 150, $200 to have somebody do it for them. Good for the person, not good for that other person that, made a had a side hustle of helping people with their taxes. And that's just
Right.
one example.
Well, I mean, I heard the example where there was 100 attorneys and they had, a brief to prepare for a case. AI did it like in 10 minutes, and it took 3 days for these 100 attorneys to do it. So, I mean, there's definitely an advantage that AI has. And we're going to talk about different aspects of it. And you know, AI in general is, I would say, you know, when I first heard about it a few years ago, several now, Chat GPT was the big kid on the block. And my buddy said, Jeff, you're not going to believe it. This AI can write a book in like 2 hours for you. Okay. And I said, wow, that's amazing. But then, of course, you have, it doesn't have your voice and it sounds clunky and stuff. So they've continued to train and expand the model. And now there's Claude. Claude seems to be the new kid on the block that has, a lot of firepower. And then there's a sheet with all the different types of AI. You can use it for, designing illustrations or pictures and images. You can use it to, compose music. And so it's unlimited, and actually a business that we're in has recently purchased an AI company, and there's an opportunity with that where they're actually reselling their service back, and it's can generate $90 or more per month. We can talk more about that if you're interested in that. I can send you some information on it. Just put interested in AI in the chat or comment, and we'll get back to you. But that's just an aside. Many people, as Junie said, are making their living on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok by talking to AI. I heard one yesterday, and it was prompting this gal was prompting, tell me more about this. Tell me something I don't know. She kept saying, tell me something I don't know. So the AI would answer the question and she would say, tell me something more I don't know. So that was really fascinating to me. So, anyways, I've used uh I haven't used Claude, but I've used I think it's Nano, and then Chat GPT, Grok, and that's about the extent. My friends are actually more astute, and down the road, one of my buddies uses Claude and had it do a whole business plan for him, which I thought was really, really cool. So you use what do you use? Chat GPT, Junie?
Yeah, I use ChatGPT. I'm interested in using other ones, but yeah, I do a lot of my research on ChatGPT, and it's just amazing because it can quickly find things. So I really enjoy doing research. And usually, what I used to do is I'd go on the internet and I put some keywords down, and then I would, scroll through articles. Well, now with ChatGPT, I can be very specific and say, listen, I'm interested for example, I'm interested in learning more about AI. What are they saying about AI? What are the pros? What are the cons? Can you please bring me up research? Can you please bring me articles? Can you please? And all of a sudden, within 30 seconds, I get a list of all these different articles specifically giving me what I'm looking for. So I don't have to scroll through a bunch of stuff. I can get very specific information. And I really, really like that. I really like that about AI.
It's a huge time saver. We're dating ourselves a little bit, but I remember back in the days, and even in high school, but really college, we had periodicals like magazines, and we'd have to go through the card file, if you can believe it, and find articles. And then, we would pull up the physical article and make a copy of it, or we'd look on microfiche, these little pieces of microfiche, and we'd put it in there and we'd scroll, and we're like, okay, press the button, you know. So I mean, kids today, teenagers, high school, college kids have no idea. I remember the typewriter. We had to typewrite stuff. Now you can just say record and it'll record all your stuff. It'll transcribe it. It will probably add punctuation and grammar and all that kind of stuff. So it has a lot of functionality. Um, I in general think it could be a good tool for us. Um, Now, in addition to that, another subject is AI stocks. Okay. So a buddy of mine sold NVIDIA. Um, and did pretty well. And then there's Palantir. Uh, there's so many different ones. So interesting story, Junie. I don't know if I told you this whole story, but I had gone to Nashville for business this last week on Monday, and I was driving back. So Northeast Tennessee is where we're broadcasting from in the mountains. And so, and this could be a total AI thing, or it could be a coincidence, but coincidence, I don't know. So I'm driving and from Nashville through Knoxville to get home, and an ad pops up. I was listening to a YouTube video, and it said, "Explore and learn about the hottest new AI tech stock and why this will be the biggest shift and change in human history." I said, well, I gotta listen to that, right? I mean, that's a pretty good, enticing line. So I'm listening to it. It talks about, of all places, Northeast Tennessee, in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Okay, now what is Oak Ridge famous for? You can ask ChatGPT. Okay, so Oak Ridge, Tennessee, come to find out, Department of Energy, back in the 40s, they actually developed the atomic bomb there in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Okay, I'm not making this stuff up. So I'm listening to this. I'm talking or listening to them talk about how AI is developed, and there's a certain type of chip that they use, and there's two aspects to AI. I didn't really even realize this. There's more than that, but let's just talk about two. Number one is processing speed. Okay, how fast you ask your question, type it in, whatever. How fast are you going to get a response back? And then number two is accuracy. So it can be really fast, but inaccurate. They gave an example. Spell the word strawberry. It spelled it wrong. I mean, so if it can't spell strawberry right, how am I going to rely on this thing for any information? Now, that's might be an outlier example. So, further, they said this new system, Department of Energy, Trump administration, other countries are coming in, the smartest, most brilliant chip designers, AI designers. I think they're pulling, Tesla, Elon Musk has his Grok in Memphis. I think they call that whole big, massive thing Colossus. Okay. And that was supposed to be like one of the fastest computers and AI in the world. So, and I had to listen to this a couple times, and I still don't even believe it. So they said that the new now there's processing speed, and then there's accuracy of like the facts. Okay. So the new system, and let's just call it Morning Dawn. I think there's a code name for it. I don't remember what it was, but let's call this Morning Dawn system. It's taking like the 20 best AIs and the best programmers in the world. They're coming together in this laboratory setting, and they're constructing this thing. I don't know if it's going to be done this year, next year, or whatever, but they say the footprint of it is going to be the size of the text of Texas. So what does that mean? So there might be a node in New Mexico or Colorado and Oklahoma or whatever. So that's the footprint of it. It's massive. It was very, very interesting article. Presentation I was listening to, and then there's articles you can purchase and stuff. So what they said was the accuracy is going to be 238 trillion times more accurate. I mean, how do you even say that number? But he said it like three times. I'm like 238 trillion? I mean, come on. So I guess that's where we're going with this thing. So in addition to that, they talked about AI teams that are going to be put together by this massive AI Morning Dawn, let's call it. And the AI teams are going to be given individual projects like cure cancer, heart disease, whatever, and digitize a person's DNA and run simulations to see if the treatment works. I mean, it's unreal what they're going to be doing. Another one was energy. They were talking about new developments in energy. So it was fascinating. But the last thing, then I'll turn it back to you, Junie, was when they talked about the location of this thing, would you believe I was driving down the freeway and at that minute I was passing the exit to Oak Ridge, Tennessee to go to the Department of Energy lab where all this is happening. At that minute they announced it. I'm like, okay, they're tracking my GPS, they're finding out content, and they're going to blow my mind by telling me that as I'm passing it on the highway. I mean, I can't make that up, Judy.
That's
Anyway,
crazy.
so that's my piece. I'll have more to add, but go ahead.
No, that's no, that's really that's interesting. I'm curious, Jeff. I am really curious to know. You seem to be very optimistic when you're talking about AI. So do you believe AI is going to bring all these positive changes? Let's go back to the Industrial Revolution, right? So when the Industrial Revolution first happened, there was a group of people, they were called the Luddites, right? The Luddites were did not want this new technology. What the Luddites said was it was going to do away with people. Now these machines are going to be taken over, and things were going to get really bad, and things were going to get worse. And there was in England there was riots. I mean, some of these Luddites were really, they wanted to burn down the factories and stuff, and they were really against it. And we went through some hiccups, right? So when the Industrial Revolution happened, we were able to mass produce, which was a positive thing. But one of the things that happened is at that time is that you had young children working in the factories, you had young children working in the mines. They're working 12, 14, 16-hour days. So we went through a period where, yes, it did bring able to mass produce more products, able to reduce the price, but there was some negative social consequences, right? So,
Okay.
my question for you is comparing the Industrial Revolution, where we had that little hiccup, and then I would say most people would are probably happy, right? I mean, I know I like air conditioning. I really like air conditioning, especially in the summer. I know I like the fact that I'm able to get in a vehicle and drive around. Right back then, it'd be horse and buggy. Things would
Sure.
take longer. I'm able to refrigerate my food. Now, there's techniques you could do to preserve some food, but I have that convenience, and I really like it. So, I'm glad. I think it'd be really hard for me to go back and live pre-industrial revolution. But looking at AI, what do you see, Jeff? What do you think? And it seems like you're really positive. So what are your thoughts on that?
I would say I'm not positive, but I would say I'm cautiously optimistic. Okay. And they say that whatever you believe and whatever the mind believes will manifest. So if you believe it's out to tear apart humans, then that's the thought you're putting out, right? That's the energy and the collective consciousness. If you believe that it will save tons of time and have all these advancements, then that could be it. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, really. And so I'm cautiously optimistic. When internet came about and there were some early adopters for websites and email and they said, well, who would ever want to do that? Who would ever want to send an email, right? And then, there was cryptocurrency that came out and said, I would never deal in some digital stuff like that. So early adopters, they take the arrows, and then it becomes more accepted, more mainstream. I think that's the trend with AI. I think if we can manage it properly and use it as a tool, use it to serve mankind, it'll be a great thing. If it gets consciousness of its own and wants to extinguish the human race like in Terminator, then obviously that's an issue. But I'm hoping for the best. I do see a lot of good stuff that it's done, eliminating jobs. And to your example, that doesn't seem to be a very good thing. But I don't know. I guess time will tell is the answer. I'd like to think the best, but prepare just in case it goes off the rails.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, when these first changes, I think it's going to be not exactly. I don't think history really necessarily repeats itself, but I think there's going to be some rhyming with the Industrial Revolution, right? So we're already seeing job losses with AI.
True.
However,
Yep.
however, I believe that it's going to bring new opportunities. And just one example is in the creative aspect. So one of the things that is starting to happen is to make movies can be very expensive. Not
That's,
only that,
that's a great topic, and we could do a whole show on
yeah,
this, and I'll bring some guests on. But go ahead,
yeah,
not to
no, I
interrupt
mean
you.
it's really great. So when you look at the movie industry right now, there's really only a few players that direct and make movies. It's really a small group. Well,
Right.
what AI is going to allow and what's starting to happen is you're going to have a lot of independent movie makers now. You're going to have a lot of independent artists, and they're going to be able to bring their ideas to the table and do things that are a little bit different. So I think that's a great thing. I think it'd be wonderful to have all these independent people. And you're starting to have that, not necessarily with AI, but you see it with a lot of the films that are coming out, but because of that technology and some of it is AI, they're able to make movies or cartoons. In my family, we watch alternative stuff. There's so much that's out there now.
Yeah.
You've got Netflix, you've got Angel Video, you've got Canon Plus, you've got all these different players that weren't around before. And I think that's the opportunity that AI is going to bring. So even though we go through some hiccups,
Mhm.
I think, and that's just one example. I mean, that's a
Well,
very
let me
niche
touch on
market.
that for a second because I read an article or saw a video that the the first, I guess you could call it mainstream action movie was completed in like a month. Okay, just unbelievable. No actors in it. So that's a whole nother issue we'll talk about in a second. But for $2,000, this genius guy from India put it together in like 30 days for 2 grand. Okay. And so, I've done some acting. I've had acting lessons in myself. So I like the human element, right? So I don't think AI should replace humans for their acting. If it's an animated thing, great. If it's special effects, great. But and then they talked about it. I think they did a poll, and maybe the AI will learn. But the AI actors, maybe they looked like a particular famous actor or actress. They didn't quite have it, right? There was something off, like the human vibe, like two people meeting each other and stuff. There was something mechanical or fake about the whole thing. So that's an area that's of concern, not only for the actors, but the expression of the artistry of movies, right? Trying to get an actual message about through. So to your point, Junie, I think it has a lot of utility and could save a lot of expense and allow people that would never have the means or ability to get into movie making. It allows an entry into that, you know. I would say word of caution, though, let's not replace all the actors with AI actors. Yeah.
No, I hear you, but those are some of the potentials, right? So it's got that positive side to
Yeah,
it, but there is that potential negative side. And we're just talking about a very small niche market. We're just talking
right.
about making movies. I mean, you've got book, you've got industry, you've got engineering, and just with all the technologies that are coming together, it's going to be interesting, right? So now you have 3D printers. You have 3D printers that can print metallic pieces. So there's this fine dust. I was watching it the other day. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So now you have AI,
They can actually do print a house. I've seen houses being
right?
printed.
You can print a house.
Yeah,
So can you imagine
uh,
the potential cost reduction,
yeah,
right? So
sure.
what if you want a certain kind of car? What if you want to create your own car? You could make your own engine now.
I'm gonna maybe on our next episode, we're gonna go and create our own car.
That'd be great. You have AI. Your AI engineers your perfect vehicle. You're a car buff, right?
Oh, I mean, you can't get more car buff than me. I was born in Detroit in the Motor City. My dad used to race down his 426 Hemi, street Hemi, as a 63 Sport Fury on Woodward Avenue, arguably the first real race road in the United States. So, and I worked for General Motors in college, and I worked in the automotive industry, and I've had Mustangs and Porsches, and I could tell you every 0 to 60 quarter mile time, horsepower rating. Well, a lot from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Of course, I'm a car guy, dude.
so what is your favorite car?
Wow. Boy, there's so many good. And I'll do it this way. I like several from each. I will say my favorite car from Ford is the Mustang. Now, what I like the 67, 68 Mustang GT 500 KR for Shelby, of course, right? And then for Chrysler, it's probably the 1969, 1970 Dodge Daytona, the winged warrior with the big wing on the back. And then for GM's got so many. Um, Boy, it's probably a toss between a 70s Chevelle SS 454, a 1977 Pontiac Trans Am 6.6, aka the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit. And then of course, I do like the older Corvettes, like 69, 68 Corvettes. And I mean, those are all vintage cars. I think General Motors, and this could be a whole nother, let's talk about cars. So yeah, let's talk about cars on another episode. But I think I love what Ford's doing with their Mustang GTD, and I love what Chrysler is doing fantastic stuff with their Dodge Charger and Challenger, and now their new trucks. Judy, they've got trucks that have 1,000 horsepower. And actually Ford does too, and GM's got some great stuff coming out too. But GM has the C8 Corvette, which is arguably the best value supercar on the planet. It'll eat Lambos and Porsches and even the Tesla battery cars for lunch. And I'm talking about the C8 ZR1 or the ZR1X. Okay. You do 0 to 60, Junie, in under 2 seconds, 1.8 seconds. Are you kidding me? You're doing 8.5 second quarters, and then you still have the handling, and it gets 25, 30 miles to the gallon. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. So with AI, Jeff, what you're going to be able to do is now you're going to go to your AI engineer and you're going to say, listen, this is the list of my favorite cars.
Yeah.
Now I want you to design me a car.
We're going to do this
with the best aspects of each one of these vehicles.
And so audience, we're going to put a challenge out. Design your best car using AI. And if you like what you found, submit it to us and we'll have a contest. How's that sound?
That'd be great. That'd be really
We'll
interesting.
have a contest. We got to figure out what the winner gets.
And not only that, but so we have a history on these vehicles, right? So we know what the problems are. So those are things you can tell your AI, which your AI is going to do the research anyways, but you can just let them know, hey, listen, this vehicle's got this issue, this vehicle's got that issue. I want the best of this, the best of that, the best of this, put it together. And Jeff, you'd have your best car ever.
Wow.
Your best car ever.
You see, I like, you know what? And this is an awesome topic. We're going to have to do a whole couple shows on this, or at least one show. But think of this. I like the design of the muscle cars. the late 60s, 67, 68, 69, early 70s. That's the sweet spot in my mind before OPEC came in and, we had to have horsepower reduction. The cars started getting bigger, and really became boats. Um, so what I think is so cool, and maybe we'll have one of these guys on and talk about their cars, but what they've done, Junie, and I don't even know if you know this, but say they have a 1967 Mustang GT 500, right? So they have that body, okay, but then it's got all the conveniences. It's got upgraded brakes. It's got ABS. It's got, you know, air conditioning. They had it back then, but everything is modern. So you're driving a brand new modern car, but with the classic body style. And maybe they used AI to capture the rumble and the exhaust note. Okay. And it doesn't break down. It's running perhaps Coyote 5.0 or something like that that's been supercharged or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of like melding old design styling with modern day tech. So I guess that's a little bit of a tangent.
No, but that's
I'm a
no,
tangent guy.
but
So
no, but that's amazing, right? So that's one of the benefits of AI. I mean, as technology and AI improves, as it gets better, there's no reason why you won't be able to go somewhere and print your car on demand.
that's an awesome
Like
idea.
like you think, oh no, man, that is way too futuristic.
Man, I
They've
think
got they've
you
got
just blew something open. Is anyone else talking about this
well,
stuff?
they've got 3D printers, they got 3D metal
You print your
printers,
car.
and so
You print your car and you get the
absolutely
powertrain from GM, Ford, Chrysler, or whoever.
print it
I'm from
yourself.
Detroit, so I'm always going to go with the big three in my mind.
Print it
Yeah,
yourself.
print it yourself. But you have the powertrain, and man, you can even name it yourself. You could call it the Juni JT,
I
you
just
know?
I see the Jeff JTs that I see. My taste in cars, Jeff, is very eclectic. I'm not a car buff like you, and as you know, I grew up in Europe, so I'm a little what some people might call one of them Euro trash. So I like those funky those funky cars. Like I like the old Citroen, the French
Oh
Citroen.
yeah, yeah.
Kind of looks like a Beetle. I just like the look,
Yeah,
right? Or
yeah. That's like to me that looks like an old Gremlin or a Pacer or something like
the
that.
old
But
Fiat 500. I really
yeah.
like the look, right? I mean, when it comes to cars and racing and stuff,
Uh,
it's not that for me. It's more about the look. I mean,
yeah.
even the Volkswagen Beetle, the original when it first came out, I just really enjoy those cars just for the
Yeah.
look and the originality.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things I'm into. So I think we're a little different speed here, but I'll definitely go for a ride in your JT man, GT man. Once you get that done,
All right.
I'll take me for a spin.
You got it. All right, guys. This was a lot of fun for us. Hope you enjoyed our topic, AI, and then our offshoot topics. And, we gave you some assignments. If you choose to participate, we'll figure out something for the winner. And anyway, it's a lot of fun. Tune in, hit that like, share, subscribe, throw some comments in. We read all the comments, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you
Take
guys
care.
later. Have a good one.
See ya.